welcome to episode 4 of Get Out, a podcast about nothing. Today we are talking about episode 4. Well, technically, according to Netflix, it's episode 3, but in our order, it's episode 4 of Seinfeld, The Robbery.
Robbery.
Okay. So if you're following along and you're watching, well, we're probably the only ones watching on the DVD at this point. But if you ever manage to get season 1 of Seinfeld on DVD, this episode has a little sort of pre-show discussion with Jerry and a couple other people from the show talking about the inspiration. So when Jerry Seinfeld was living in New York, he had an apartment that would get broken into, he said, fairly regularly.
18 times.
18 times? Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. Which I don't know, like.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah. I wrote it down. I swear it was 18 times.
One is a lot. Like,
yeah. Times.
Yeah. So, and that will lead us to, I think, a question. Like, I'm going to bring that up again later. But so, in fact, one of them, I can't remember. I think a producer on the show said that in reality, they actually cut through the wall of the apartment to rob it. But in this case,
gosh,
yeah, isn't that insane? Like,
notes about nothing, Mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, in this episode, Jerry's apartment gets robbed. And there are some amusing things that come with it. So,
did you notice his apartment this time?
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, that's a great point. So this is the first one where it's not just a studio apartment. There's actually there's a legit.
And he even says, why do I need another bedroom? So, at this point, he has established a bedroom and not just a studio apartment.
Which is themed, a little bit of a sub-theme throughout the episode, because Jerry is improving in his financial gains and like getting, so the episode even happens at all because Jerry is starting to get more successful.
Yeah.
So
he's got a bedroom now, and then we're talking about upgrade, so it's kind of cool how we're already seeing progress within like 4 or 5 episodes. So.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this aired on June 7th, 1990. Okay. And it was, I guess, I'm assuming this was the 3rd episode to air, or was it, do you know?
It should be, because Netflix seemed to put it in air order.
They put it in air
order.
Okay.
So
this is the 3rd episode to air. You've got all the regular cast. Elaine, Kramer, George. So the episode opens with Jerry packing, and Elaine is hanging out there.
Actually, it opens up with the...
yeah. Let's talk about that.
The stand-up
was the stand-up session.
He cuts a lady off without, probably like most of us think.
I literally wrote the finger in the opening monologue. Yeah.
Right here, it's a finger.
Yes.
Yeah. So so all of us probably presume when we cut people off that we don't cut people off, but she gave him the finger, and he was just like, it's funny how our custom. He gives me supposed to feel that, and he's like, "What about the toe?" So it's just
That was great. Like, why would you just give someone the toe?
It would be more,
What's up with the finger?
It was I thought it was a good stand-up. Actually, the stand-up in this episode
was funny.
It was funny.
I'm just trying to picture somebody contorting themselves and lifting their.
Give you the toe.
Give me the toe.
I would laugh so hard if that was
I would crash.
I think sometimes it'd be funny because I bet the person it would happen to, Philip.
Yes. Yeah. I'm definitely.
Got the toe before?
No, just if somebody was going to get the toe.
Oh, if somebody was going to get the toe. Okay.
I think he would be the one to give the toe.
True. That was like, when I thought of it, it was either straight up he would get it or give it because
I'm thinking I'm the one giving the toe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was talking about somebody contorting themselves to do it, it was him in my head that I was picturing.
See?
Yeah. Oh.
He's very flexible. He can do that.
And he's very like, he'll just tell us, all right, today on the road, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because he has dash cam.
Yeah.
So he just shows us stuff.
Yeah.
We should shout out his YouTube channel. I forgot what it's called actually.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him. We'll shout him out.
Oh, well, we will make sure we shout out that at some point. Yes.
Yeah. So, but that was, that's hilarious. What
Yes.
One thing that I
shout that out
was
it's a finger.
One thing that I noticed in the notes about nothing was they said a lot of times it's a warm up to the warm up, right? So he would do some random stand up, and then he would do stand up that's themed on the episode.
Okay.
But in this instance, obviously the middle finger thing has nothing to do with.
That'd be good though. It does later. It does later.
Yeah,
it does later, but not this time.
So when it said the audience laughed more at the middle finger thing than whatever he said after. So they were like, "Well, we'll just go with the middle."
So that becomes a theme throughout that they weren't too worried about really what Jerry's going to do stand up on. If it had something to do with it, great. If it didn't, it's fine.
Another thing it said was that at the beginning they were basing the episodes on his stand up.
Yeah.
And then, obviously.
That's how everything was about his life.
Yeah.
Or Larry's life.
Yeah.
And the stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously eventually the show takes on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And the stand up kind of fades.
Yep.
Yeah. Good point, though.
This was also the first episode that was written not by Larry and Jerry.
Okay.
Matt Goldman. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
The first few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not at Larry Charles yet, but I think Larry Charles is getting hired because he's going to write a lot in season 2.
I really like Matt's writing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was excited in the notes that they mentioned Larry Charles is getting hired to write because most of my favorite episodes are from Larry Charles. Yeah, he's
me
really
too.
Good.
Same with me. But I am not saying I don't like this guy's writing because it's pretty. Yeah. Jerry and Larry are classic at this. Mm-hmm. I mean, they really do write the best stuff, I think. But
well, actually, so even though they weren't writing in that sort of same preview thing before the episode, Larry David mentioned that there was some kind of problem with the script and or with the episode in general, and nobody could figure out how to fix it. And he fixed it.
Real quick, as an asterisk, I'll throw in because I'll forget. They even didn't want Vanessa back because they wanted a clean slate every week, but they kind of had to keep her there because they didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know what happened, but something was stuck. Vanessa wasn't supposed to be.
I was surprised that the girlfriend shows up in 2 episodes because that doesn't happen. They move on.
Yeah.
So
there's fresh faces.
You were saying though. So Larry,
So Larry didn't write the episode, but with whatever changes he made to the episode, he figured out a way to resolve the conflict in the plot or something. This episode is when he was made an executive producer, and he said he got a $20,000 bonus.
They were so happy. They were so impressed with him.
Yeah.
They were like, we're surprised at your inexperience because you're doing fine. Yeah. Like they were like, we got this. Castle Rock and NBC relaxed after season 1 because Larry was actually that good at everything behind stage.
Yeah.
So
that was super interesting.
So he got promoted. Yeah.
So
speaking of writers and Larry and Jerry.
Bravo, because that's really amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to deep dive yet.
For that.
We'll mention it back up again when it comes down because I know they're going to start emphasizing on what they would do with writers each week. And I say writers because eventually usually there's 2.
Yes.
Is they'll get them in there and they'll show them everything. Here's how we direct. Here's how you do this. Here's how you produce. Here's how you write. Here's how you edit. They did everything with their writing. So it wasn't just writing. The whole week was their week, and they walked them through everything Jerry and Larry did. And that's something they do throughout. I don't know if they're doing that here. It might start in season 2. We'll see. But I know it's coming. I know it's big time in 4. And from there on out, and they're like every writer that works with them, it's like we learn how to do so much more things than writers usually learn how to do because Larry and Jerry were that cool. They would just sit with us and laugh and talk and hang out, and we just do our job. So good stuff. Good stuff's coming. We see signs. Good things are, So,
definitely.
Earthquake. So.
Oh yeah, another behind the scenes sort of piece of information.
The inside look on the DVD.
Ooh, I like those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are behind the scenes people for sure.
Yeah.
Like the VH1 bubbles.
Pop-up video.
So, do you want to say it or you want me to? Doesn't matter.
Go for it.
So the other piece of, or the little tidbit that we saw was that while they were filming this episode, there was an earthquake in LA. And so,
yes, this is not taped in New York, by the way. This is setting is New York, but it is always taped in LA. Yes.
On the shots of the building, you can see the earthquake reinforcements throughout the whole 9 years. It's not a New York building.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I'll try and
they pulled that up you can see the earthquake reinforcements on the LA buildings of the stuff they filmed in.
Okay.
Like they're in New York, but you can still see the earthquake if you know what you're looking for. Because they said it at the notes. Was okay. Yeah. You could see the LA reinforcements.
Yeah.
None of this is filmed in New York. It's just the setting of where they are.
Yeah.
Kramer stunt doubles eventually, but they have money at that point. So yeah.
So that's true. His stunt double runs around Central Park and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
But they're never filming there though.
Right. Yeah. So the main thing was that because Jason Alexander, who plays George Costanza, is a New York native, and he was pretty new to LA, and so he didn't know what to do during an earthquake. The only thing he had ever heard was stand in a door or stand under a doorway. But the only doorway that he was close to was a set doorway.
Was the set? Yeah, it's not a real.
So that's where he went.
And they were like, "What are you doing?" I'm standing under a door. They're like, "That's not a." Okay, Jason, come here. Like,
that's not a sound structure, Jason.
This is funny how all of them were just like, meh, and he's all like trying to, and they're just, they were like, eh.
Oh, right. Everyone was like, whatever, and he's just freaking out.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, so I think that's it on the sort of behind the scenes preview type stuff. So where does the episode open?
So we now back to you were saying
in the apartment. It opens in the apartment.
Jerry and Lane, which is a very good start. The scenes with them are great.
Yeah.
And
she looks so young in this. Oh man.
We just watched
she looks so different.
Christmas season right now, everybody. And we just watched National Lampoon Christmas Vacation.
And she is also in that. Yes, she's the neighbor.
She did that movie in 1989. So the first episode.
Yeah.
So we're a year after that. It's kind of funny. So
yep.
So Julia
is cool. Yeah, she's good. I've liked her in everything I've ever seen her do, which isn't much, but I've seen her in some stuff. I really like her.
Yeah. So the episode opens. Jerry's packing to go on a trip to Minneapolis, I think. He has a couple of shows there.
Right down where
yeah, and I remember it. I'm pretty sure it's Minneapolis. And so he has some shows there. Elaine is gonna stay at the apartment for him, and they're just kind of going back and forth, joking about his packing, and how he's a master packer.
Go ahead.
I think the chemistry between them is, still ongoing. We established friends. They're not going to be, a romantic couple. But Jerry's talking about rules for the fridge. You can kind of see his anxiety,
over cleanliness, anxiety, ADHD, narcissism.
No leftovers, no butter, and no soft cheeses.
No soft cheeses.
I don't refrigerate my butter, so that's just me.
Yeah.
But she refrigerates it. But when I don't really care about butter that much.
We keep some on the counter.
Yeah, but it can be out.
Yeah. It can be out. And then he also mentions the hot water in the apartment. He says, "Turn it on, go do all your
shopping, and then come back, and it might be hot." Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. And then the other thing he mentions is, if there's any sexual activity, do it in the tub.
Please do it in the tub.
Which Elaine later on says doesn't work. Yeah. Sex in the tub doesn't work.
So anyways.
That's hilarious how they have those little...
He probably knows from experience because she probably did something in the tub while he was gone.
Yes.
That'd be so funny if that's actually the reason she says that. Like,
that's really great. I didn't even think of that when I watched the episode, son. That's great.
Yeah.
So
that's good. That's good.
This kind of opens the big question that I have. Elaine's talking about, man, your apartment sucks, you know. Why is he there? Like, why? Why does he stay at this apartment? And we can come back to this. There'll be some relevant information coming.
Yeah.
Up. So
she thinks it sucks, but she wants it.
Right.
It's a step
She's
up.
still living there, and she really wants it.
So he goes on
her roommate. Yes.
He comes back.
The robbery.
The robbery. Yeah.
Robbery.
All of his stuff is taken. His TV,
stereo.
VCR.
Yep.
VCR.
TV, VCR, answering machine, anything that was
valuable.
The thing back then was pretty much gone. Yeah.
Computer. I thought it was funny that they took the TV, but they left the remote.
Yeah, because he did pick the remote up and was like, looking for it.
That was a good bit. I forgot
that was great.
I forgot how funny that was when I saw it. I was like,
that was really funny.
So anyway,
it was really funny.
All his stuff is gone. Elaine comes out of the bathroom with a plunger, which I think there's never an explanation for that, which I think is hilarious. And then she says, you know, I'm sorry. There was a robbery. You got robbed. The police are on their way over. Kramer slides in. This is noted in the notes about nothing that this was Kramer's first sliding entrance.
Okay.
That became very famous, right? So,
very popular, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, entrance number 6.
Entrance number 6.
We're at 6.
So then Kramer explains that he had left the door open because he was borrowing Jerry's spatula. Yes.
And he got caught up watching The Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh,
I love how he mentions The Bold and the Beautiful not once, but at least twice. I mean, I know at least 2 times he mentions it, maybe 3
or 2, and like other soaps.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. He's home all the time.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, you know, that's
so.
That seems to be his favorite because he talks about it more than once.
Yeah.
He doesn't say as the world turns or anything. You know, it's crazy.
So then we get to the bit with the lock.
Kramer basically left the door open. So
yeah, your locks don't work if it's left open.
Yeah. So Kramer's like, "Oh, don't you have insurance?" Which to me, not having renter's insurance is insane. Like,
I don't know if it was that popular. It might have been super expensive in New York.
Yeah, you know? I don't know.
I don't think it was really a big thing back then, and I bet it was really expensive because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It really might be like you can have it, but like it's also like I get it. So like we're also seeing Jerry doesn't have that yet. When we know later, obviously he doesn't say it, he would 100% have insurance. So he's just, you know, like we're still seeing him financially not struggle, it's just different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
So anyway, so he says, no, I put all my money in the, I didn't write down what the lock is called, but.
Oh yeah, the name of it was very made up.
Something 5,000.
Yeah.
And then he gets to, you know, but it has one flaw. The door has to be closed, right? In that Jerry voice. So yeah, it's a very action, like a lot of action happens in like the first 10 minutes of the episode, right? Because it's funny because the main, like, all the rest of the episode is them going back and forth about what we're about to talk about, right? But this is all the setup, and the setup takes, you know, like the first third. So the robbery is not even the main part of the episode. The robbery is already done.
You pretty much forget about the robbery. Right. A lot of episodes do that, though.
Yeah.
You really forget.
The name
what the episode is about.
Yeah, fans will name episodes the wrong thing, actually, like the nipple.
Yes.
Or pig.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
so like everybody remembers the nipple, Elaine, but it's which is a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Which is yeah. So
right.
Yeah, that's true. But you get lost in all the other stuff that you forget what the episode's about already. We're only on episode 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's how good they are at writing this already.
True.
So then George shows up, right? He magically gets, like, he doesn't buzz in or anything like that. Jerry's like, how did you get in? Apparently the front door of the apartment building is broken.
Oh,
great. Which that sort of jumpstarts this conversation. Elaine and Jerry and George are all talking about how this apartment sucks. You know, the hot water, and you deal with the robberies and all of that stuff. And George is obviously, he's still a real estate agent. And so he tries to convince Jerry to look at this new apartment.
I want to just mention real quick the cop, because that was really funny.
Cop was funny.
Oh, yes. No, please go for it.
Now, after the robbery, the cop shows up. I didn't look the actor up, but he was great. But he's just like, we'll let you know if we find anything. And Jerry's like, do you ever find anything? And he's like, no.
I love the exchange, because he's like,
it was good.
Jerry's so, like, you can tell this is probably the first time he's had to call the cops like this, at least in this show.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, well, okay,
we don't see cops. Yeah, like this.
Ooh, what happens now? And the guy's like,
nothing.
You don't get your stuff back, dude.
We'll let you know if we find anything.
You ever find anything? No. I wanted that to be the quote for the show.
Yeah. I almost wanted that to be the quote also, because it was just it was a good exchange between them. It was funny.
But the way it would settle with the joke is no at the end of it, without inflection and context. And then you would have to really know the episode. So like this one is just people say, I want it if you don't want it all the time anyway. So it's perfect. So
yeah, I just wanted to bring that up before we moved on.
Master Packer low-key fans was also the episode's title.
We liked Master Packer, but we did go with
I want it if you don't want it.
I want it if you don't want it.
I would say Master Packer is their first attempt at a catchphrase. So
does it come up again? Or it's just in that
they try, you're gonna see a few attempts. It takes a second for things to stick. But like
I think they do a really good job at creating like a phrase of the episode, because I mean, you guys are constantly saying one-liners from all these different episodes.
They do kind of stick with a catchy something that makes you want to,
like 2 or 3 words, maybe a phrase.
So that's apparently how George got in.
Yeah,
I forgot that. I want to add it in real quick. It was a visual gag, a physical gag, and it was like, "How'd you get in here?" And George goes,
"Yeah."
Like, and then obviously a reference to Dream of Genie. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So,
which was huge. That was a great show.
And the crowd loved. They could tell they got tickled by that joke.
Yeah.
They really liked that. Yes.
So I was trying to remember like what Kramer had to say about them switching apartments as they're discussing like Jerry going to look at this new apartment. But actually, what happened is, I'm having trouble keeping the time frame together.
This is what
this is when Kramer goes.
No, I mean this is what we're looking at for the rest of the series, because it starts getting crazy.
Okay. Well, at some point they're talking about so they go to see this new apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment in the Upper East Side. I think Upper East Side, or maybe Upper West Side. I'm not sure.
It's West.
Most
of the show's West.
2-bedroom Upper West Side in New York, which, if you don't know, is like a very nice place.
Yes, very expensive and it's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was super curious, even from the beginning, how much Jerry's current apartment would cost.
Which I love that because they're gonna do that. Like there's so many more episodes where they talk about here's what it costs now and here's what you'll get. It's great with the notes about nothing and stuff.
So anyway, so in the notes about nothing, it does mention a 2-bedroom uptown in Manhattan at this point would be between $3,000 to $6,000 a month. And George mentions that this 2-bedroom that they're going to look at is about double what Jerry's currently paying. So that would put Jerry between $1,500 and $3,000 a month, which is pretty good.
Which is what Kramer has to be paying too,
right?
For the most part, and we have no idea forever how. For 9 years, no idea.
No, we have a clue in season 9. We have a clue.
Yeah, we have a couple clues, but still, there's like
there's a few. No, there's actually a clue, but it's not till season 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Kramer will remain a mystery. But anyway, so Jerry.
Yes, for now he's a mystery.
Yeah, Jerry, Elaine, and George go see this apartment. I mean, I would take that apartment.
Oh, that apartment was so nice.
Like it's still nice. Like it's amazing.
I love that apartment. It reminded me of Uncle Matt's apartment.
It does. The outside looks exactly like.
Yeah, it totally did.
So there's
shout out Uncle Matt.
Shout out, Uncle Matt. Like we'll get, hey,
love you.
Watch it. Subscribe.
It did. It looked a lot like his apartment. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Well, his house. It's not an apartment, but yeah,
like a condo.
It's a duplex. It's a town home.
You're right.
Town home or whatever. Okay.
Man, no, you're in a mansion, bud. You'll see. We know we're all keeping you humble. You're in a mansion, man. Yeah. He's been like, yeah, love you, man. Yeah. So, what do you tip a wood guy now?
Oh, because of the fireplace.
They're discussing the wood on the floor, the fireplace. Do you deliver the wood? Do they deliver? Yeah. You can barbecue out here, Jerry.
Which is a fair question in New York City. Where
Jerry also likes, he's very proud of his tipping. He's a very generous tipper. And so they talk about charcoal for the grill outside. Yeah, you gotta tip him then if it's the same guy as the wood, and if he brings the charcoal, and their banter was great.
What do you tip a wood guy?
That was, I personally, that's a pretty funny name for an episode, but I want it if you don't want it, it's very good too. Yeah. You could tell George is anxious on what Jerry's gonna say.
He really is.
And then when Jerry decides yes, you can tell he's like, he was like bummed out. So we're assuming at the time he wants it. Well, we find out he does. Yeah. But a few little random tidbits.
So Jerry says
George snorts in that episode too. He snorts right there.
He does.
I think that's the first time we hear him snort.
Yeah. So and Jason doesn't snort. Jason added that. Was talking to Larry and was like, and then Larry's like, it's perfect. Like
I love it.
As awkward as you can be, we'll do it. Like it's going to be better. And it's true.
Yeah, he snorts in that right after that. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason. Yeah. So let's think. All right, now, right before that transition to the scene with the apartment, and we're walking in, Elaine is telling everybody why she wants to move out.
Yes.
So we will meet her roommate in season 2, but we're not there yet, and she's a trip. But
she's so great.
So good.
Yeah,
I love her.
She's great. She's awesome in a bunch of stuff. So we'll get there. That's gonna be exciting. So you'll see when we see her, but like Elaine's like, I can't anymore. She's practicing what's it called? Carousel. What was she auditioning for, or not auditioning, practicing for first? I hope I get
chorus
it.
Line.
I hope I get it. Like she's
I wrote it all down. Oh yeah.
Chorus line.
It's a chorus line.
Yeah. Which they bring up again in season 4. We just watched the episode of the movie. Mm-hmm. Which we lip syncing the chorus line. Hey, can you be quiet? It's the coming attractions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so that's a setup. So Elaine wants out. It's a step up for her to have Jerry's normal apartment. They start going back and forth a little bit, and it's pretty funny about the couch cost. Jerry's like, I'll sell you the couch. Mm-hmm. $150. First thing.
Insane. That's ridiculous.
Oh, I was like, Jerry, are you seriously going to rip her off right now, dude? Seriously, this is 1990.
I know. In 1990, especially, I wouldn't pay $100.
This is supposed to be your friend. This is supposed to be your friend. No.
I know. And she's like, $20. and he's like, no.
So
they do 50. All right, whatever. Yeah.
So Jerry
50 might be okay now. I don't know about 1990.
Jerry's gonna move to the new.
That was a lot to ask for that.
Elaine's gonna take his apartment.
And leaves George awkward. So
George is the one who makes it awkward, right? Like
yes, because he starts. Oh, you taking it? He didn't expect Jerry to take it.
He brings the lease by. It's a 3-year lease.
Which is that normal?
It's not.
In New York, it probably is.
At the time.
Yeah, they would know. Larry and Jerry.
In New York, it probably is. That's really not typical, but in New York, it might be.
And
maybe 1992.
It can depend.
It'd be interesting to find out. Ask that question. I don't know.
Yeah, it can depend on the building. Like if
it could be a starter lease. It has to be 3.
Yeah.
Maybe after that they trust you.
So anyway, Jerry's looking through the lease and he's like, "Man, 3 years is kind of a long time." Which is to me,
Jerry, if there's any reason you don't want it, if there's any reason, please
don't feel pressure.
You don't have to. And then Jerry's like,
"If you don't want it, I'll take it."
There starts the awkward. The rest of the
it's the codependent, anxiety fueled.
You can tell he's like that the entire episode, though. Like he's so just.
They both like. We're gonna start seeing. Maybe this is the first like bad ending for Seinfeld. Where they just all suck at the end. And they're like, well, crap. We're all kind of a-holes, and that's our fault.
Yeah, they're not.
You're right, because they usually make out pretty well. Even though it's all jacked up, they still end up making out pretty well. This time, they don't.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll lead up there.
Yeah.
A lot of the problems.
Defeated,
There's always usually a solution I can think of where I'm in my head, like, I just, and of course, the episodes are easy.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm like, no, it doesn't just...
Yeah, so
You're both going to be over there anyway.
Right, exactly. So like, from my perspective,
live together.
I would, from my perspective, if I were Jerry, like, I get being a little anxious about the 3-year lease thing, but if you hate your apartment so much,
well, he wants it. He's like, you know what? I'm going to live here. Like, he's totally about it.
Right, but then he backs out, and so if it were me as Jerry, I would just. Like, no, I'm gonna take it,
What I don't get though, this is George's job.
Right. Exactly.
He sees these before anybody else does. He didn't know it had a garden. He didn't know it had a fireplace. He sucks at his job.
I was about to say that. I was like, yeah, but he sucks at his job.
Yeah.
We know he does.
Yeah. If he wanted it that bad, he could have saw how good it was before and just been moved in there. Like,
so here's my question. I guess it's unusual to see Jerry. Well, I guess in the later seasons, but in the early seasons, Jerry and George are on equal financial footing, which is really a really weird dynamic, right? Because
it is.
In the later seasons, George could not afford that apartment.
No.
Right?
No. It wouldn't even be a thing for George. No.
He, if you're new to the show, George ends up living with his parents for a significant amount of time later in the show. And Jerry just gets more and more successful. But he's still in that same apartment at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And so when I was watching this is what I was like, man, he could have. Like,
I don't think Jerry needs all that though. Like he's
right.
I think going back to his original apartment, even 9 years later or whatever, he's content. He's got his cereal, he's got his Superman, he's got his bedroom.
He is very. That's true, Corey. He doesn't require.
They want.
He's not. Yeah, he's not materialistic.
Yeah.
Sure.
As Jerry on the show, he's not.
He has the biggest car collection in the world. Yeah. No, but he really isn't though. He's just like.
No, I know Jerry in real life does, but on the show, he really doesn't talk about having to have the best or have any attitude like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways,
kind of humble that way.
It made me chuckle a little bit.
Yeah.
So George and Jerry are going back and forth about who's going to take the apartment. They do a coin flip, right? Now, obviously, George is not going to just deal with the results,
Doesn't
right?
matter what I did. Yeah.
Yeah. he's like, they do the coin flip. Oh, it hit. What did it hit?
The counter.
It hit the counter. Interference, right?
Which he threw it above the counter. So I was like, I mean,
yeah,
George, you flip it then.
Yeah.
Like.
So then they do 2 out of 3.
Well, they do choose.
Yes.
What is choose? I know even they did it, and every time they do it, I still don't know what it is. And knows about nothing to talk about it.
It's some weird version of.
I have no idea. I was going to ask you because I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I asked Mom.
It's the New York thing either again.
What's choose? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, all right.
Who knows?
I don't know.
So they did. Jerry went 3-1, and they choose. Elaine's witness the whole time. Mm-hmm. Witness. And
Kramer's not there. Kramer's not there at this point because he has a theory that the Englishman in their building is the one who stole Jerry's stuff,
and so he was going to go check it out.
Yes, he's off trying to figure that out.
He was off trying to solve the case.
Yes.
Which is so Kramer. Like that's also the first episode.
Yeah.
It's like, because that before then he's just quirky, he's funny, but that is like you're like what? Why? Mm-hmm. And he just leaves. And you're like, okay, like that's so Kramer. Because after that, like, nobody ever knows what he's doing half the time. And it's just he's like, all right, whatever, dude. Like it's so funny. The guy he swallowed. That was like another quote, but like I didn't. That's so weird of a quote. I didn't want to be,
Dude, what's
that is weird. That is weird quote.
That's what Kramer says. Jerry, the guy, he swallowed. Yeah. And Jerry's like, yeah. Like they swallow Kramer. That's what
Kramer
they do.
Said, I know about the stuff. Jerry, the guy. He swallowed. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, Jerry's like, yeah, sure. Let's instantly just didn't care what he had to say after that. All right. So then so they're cut to the diner, right? Jerry and George are still going back and forth about the apartment.
Yeah.
And I'm at this point, it was just like, somebody take it. And of course they don't. It's just like, geez, guys, like shut up.
So Jerry, they're just going back and forth, which again, you see they're very codependent, right? George wants Jerry to, I guess, care about
I think George just really wanted it. And when George has Jerry's like, oh, I don't want it, whatever. George is like, no, I have to have it.
Yeah, Jerry's always so easygoing that way.
Yeah. And Jerry doesn't.
George is not so flexible.
It's just ridiculous.
Like the initial, before it went back and forth like 6 times, the initial, hey, I don't want it then if you can have it, that Jerry said, I get it. That totally made sense. Because it was initial. Once it was like the 7th time, dude, like, you can have the apartment. And they still all right.
Yeah.
But, the first time it was I don't really care, dude. Take the apartment. I don't care. Yeah. Why not? So.
And that's why I think, George, it's not that George really wants the apartment, because if he did, he would take it. Yeah. It's not about.
I don't think he can afford it either.
Yeah. Right. Yes. I do. That would be a very George thing, would be to make a whole thing about wanting the apartment when in reality he can't actually.
That's a whole other episode by itself, and that's
so. Like I said, this is his job. Why didn't he just take the apartment?
Yeah.
Well, we find out soon enough, several times in the series. Yeah.
Yes. So they're going back and forth, and George says, "Well, I'll just get rid of it. I can get rid of it today." And the waitress, what was her name? Did you write down her name?
They didn't even say her name.
Carolyn.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Carolyn.
Oh, did they?
So, Carol, the waitress.
They don't say initially. You hear it in her apartment.
Yeah. They say hi, Carol, and then.
You're right.
Yeah. So, she's like, she overhears and says, "What's the rent?" Right. And I just have to point this out, and there are many possible explanations for this, but I do find it interesting that the person who ends up with the $3,000 to $6,000 a month apartment is a waitress.
Well, I believe her husband, who we meet later, is probably the breadwinner.
Yes. But I'm just confused. I'm like, if you can afford that, why are you a waitress? I don't know. It just seemed off to me, but
it's actually fun.
It is a little odd, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not a big deal. And shout
out to the waiters and waitresses out there for real, because you know what? It's kind of fun sometimes.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
It is. I did it for a long time. It's fun.
Yeah.
It is fun.
So, anyways, I know there are multiple.
Takes talent,
but I think it's an.
Oh, that's the first thing I wrote because I didn't know about. I haven't seen this episode in a long time, and I wrote.
Oh, me too.
How in the hell can she afford that apartment?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see
I haven't seen this episode in a long time either. So
the husband was Larry, and he does have a line or two. And Carolyn was her full name, and they're named after Jerry's in real life sister and brother-in-law. Mm-hmm. So that's why they did it.
So cut to the end of the episode.
Very cool.
And they're in this amazing apartment. It's not furnished. And
they're all sitting cramped together on a couch.
Yeah, Larry
that has a bunch of room on it. There's like 4 more people can fit on this couch, and they're all in the corner like sad puppies. Yeah.
Jerry, Elaine, and George all together.
First time, and you're just like, man, you all rucked it up, man. Yeah. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, you guys are all here because of all y'all. Like,
we love you guys, but boo.
Yeah, they're at the housewarming, and they're very sad. Yeah. Very sad.
And everybody's making comments about how they barbecue every night and jog every day. And the park's right there, and this, that, and they're just like,
oh, and the neighbor.
Oh, yes. So Carolyn introduces Larry, her husband, and then she also introduces this beautiful redheaded woman. Says, "Oh, this is Diane, my neighbor.
She's a masseuse.
She gave me a massage."
I love it because after they meet her, Elaine goes,
"Oh, I didn't see that." She will do stuff, Julia.
She looks at her chest.
Because she goes.
Looks at her chest.
There's an episode where you see her go.
Yep.
And like a few times. Like Julia.
She does.
Okay.
Just anybody ever gets into Seinfeld because of us or whatever.
She does.
Watch Julia because she will always.
Watch Julia. It's hilarious. And if you watch the episode also when this episode, but when they're I think it's the time when Kramer comes in to talk about the neighbor possibly being the guy or whatever, the robber. But she no, George is there. I'm sorry, because she just nonchalantly takes out that measuring stick and starts measuring the couch behind them as they're still talking because they're. Gotta watch Julia.
As soon as George loses in the last chew, she takes the measuring stick out again.
She does.
I saw that. I knew that part. Yeah, because she's like, "Oh, my couch." Yeah. So.
Keep your eye on Julia. She rocks.
I know this is funny. We keep track of their boyfriends, girlfriends, etc. Elaine's down the couch now, and she slaps Jerry on the leg because she's like, I also lost the deposit on the U-Haul, like, because she was ready to move, man. So we're just so blown away knowing Jerry and George even later that they both wouldn't have let that happen to Elaine, So like it's weird. Later on, they would have figured it out. One of them would have took it, or Kramer or something. They would have figured it out. But like now, they're just there's not the characters aren't developed enough because George and Jerry wouldn't really. I don't think they do it so in the long run.
George would.
Yeah, if he could, but he wouldn't. If he wouldn't though, if he could get something. So if he could get cool points, he probably would out of spite, just to get cool points and say, "Hey, I did that." So like,
George always has a motive.
He'll have a motive, but he'll
have a motive. Yes, or he won't do it.
Intention, but he would do it. Jerry would like. It's weird that Jerry would be like, "Hey, Elaine, like, well, I don't know. I don't know."
Yeah.
Who knows how the show would go if they actually got in that apartment, like Elaine and Jerry moved in? That'd be crazy. Or like George and Jerry moved in, that'd be a different aspect. Like, who knows? The show would be so different. So
yeah.
So
very true.
Okay.
Let me double check the notes. I want it. If you don't want it, times 10 ad nauseum.
Oh my gosh, that's what they said the most during this episode. Well, I want it if you don't want it. Nobody could make a damn decision. Well, Jerry did. I can't say that. Jerry did.
No, it's true. He actually made 2. It's like he's the one that wanted it, and it was like nope. So like it's fine. Which in the long run, I mean, of course, works out. His set is so iconic. Like people that don't know Seinfeld know this apartment. So let's see, stand-up numbers. All right, so stand-ups real quick. Let's go over.
Oh yeah, stand-ups.
The stand-up 1 was cut her off with a finger, which is good.
Yeah.
Stand-up 2 was call the police, and how the first time you're out in the real world, and you're like, ooh, I can call the police. It doesn't really do anything usually.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty good. Kramer will be at 7 entrances, by the way, when we're done. And the third stand-up, which was, this one's good. Kids calling it. So like, oh, front seat's mine. Oh, I called it. Like, I called it. Okay, I called it. Like, it's binding contract, you know. That's pretty funny. That's a good stand-up.
Yeah.
The first.
Oh, we didn't mention that George likes his reflection in the mirror at Monk's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
that
is
is
a good mirror.
Yeah,
and that's pretty funny. He thinks he looks like
Robert Wagner.
Yep.
He said Robert Wagner. Yeah.
And I'm just like, what is he talking? Like,
I'm such a millennial because I think of Robert Wagner and it's just number 2 from Austin Powers, Dr. Evil's henchman. Yeah, number 2. So yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny that he loves how he looks in the bathroom in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, George. Actually, you know what? That's funny. That's more significant than I thought because George will start talking about how this place has a toilet. This is the best toilet. This is whatever. Like, yeah.
That's a good point. Something about bathrooms with George.
Yeah, and then what's the rant? Yep. Okay, the first cold ending.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time not stand up.
Mm-hmm.
They could have had 4 stand-ups in here and tied with the first episode, but they didn't. They kept it at 3, which has been the norm since episode 1.
Yeah.
And they just kind of all sat there like bummed out and like they're all losers. And then you just cut to the song.
Yeah.
Like
clearly that's the best ending.
It is. But they do that though like 150 more times because it's so funny to end with them just they don't win.
Yeah,
like,
they're all mad.
Yeah, they're all mad. So great. Alrighty, so wow, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode.
We're gonna wrap up this episode and
it was a good episode. It wasn't the best episode, but it was a good episode. There was a lot of good stuff in that episode that I really liked. A lot of good lines that were really good.
We see seeds still of Kramer because he starts doing the slide. We see George kind of just saying something.
We kind of see him really coming into their characters.
George is
that we've grown to love. Yeah,
starting to be more not truthful. Like he'll say what he feels, but it's not really what he thinks or feels. And you'll find out after, like, why did you say that? But that's just how he is.
Yeah.
And Jerry's still Jerry. Kramer's getting developed. Kramer's hair is getting longer too. If you notice, like the next season, it'll be kind of normal. Yeah. So also here we go. So we got some interesting couple weeks coming up for the fans. First off, everybody, thank you for supporting us when you do.
Thank you for being here.
Oh yeah. Remember Thursdays at 9, we will air these episodes every week. We're planning on doing that because that's when Seinfeld aired back in the day.
For the follows, thank you for the likes. Thank you for showing up during the premieres. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep. So that does help. Now we got some ideas for the show going forward here and there. We're going to try some things. We're going to see. But one thing coming up for sure is Christmas. And so for Christmas, we're gonna have an episode rolled out for you guys already, so we can have off next week and enjoy our vacation. So we'll be filming that soon. And but then besides that though, Festivus is coming up.
Yeah.
Festivus will be December 23rd.
Festivus for the rest of us.
That's right. And I know
that's in just a few days for us.
That's the 20. Yeah. So it's the 23rd. And we're gonna have a live stream. It won't be a numbered episode, but it'll just be fun. So
just gonna hang out and just talk about whatever. It doesn't even have to be.
It's Christmas vibes, but it doesn't even have to be. We're just
whatever.
We'll see what happens.
Give out some shout outs to our friends, and we'll just chill.
We'll maybe air some grievances. We'll maybe point some fingers. Feats of strength. We'll figure it out. We'll do something. It'll be fun. But that'll be coming up, and that'll be it's 2023 still. So whoever sees this later. Because it could be in a year, and it will be this Saturday, December 23rd. We'll do Festivus. I don't know what time yet. We'll keep you posted. Yeah. Also, everybody, we want to wish you a happy holidays, whatever you celebrate, whatever you do. Thank you for everything, and love and be good to each other.
Happy holidays.
Yep, for real.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here.
For real.
Love you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.